Good afternoon, everybody. This is Pinterest Pin Your Way to More Clicks, an intermediate level session here at Affiliate Summit West. Welcome. My name is Michelle Held. I'm from the Philadelphia area. I work on online marketing with a specialty in search engine optimization, social media and management. I'm an author, and I started using Pinterest in late 2011, 2012. I really got hooked on it, loved it, saw it as an up-and-comer, and saw it as a way to improve my SEO game. So I really wanted to be a part of it, and then I started blogging about it because support on the site wasn't that great, and I write a lot of tutorials about it. I divided this session into 3 parts. First, Pinterest history and some stats, and e-commerce stats and how they can work for you, and then how Pinterest is different. And then we'll get into the who, what, where, and why, what's being pinned by who and when, and then how to strategize and optimize your Pinterest account and website to get the inbound clicks that you want and get sales and conversions that you want. So a quick show of hands, who has a Pinterest account that they use on a regular basis? Daily, quarterly, excellent. Who never heard of it before they walked through that door today? Said, P what? Super. So what is Pinterest? It's an online social network founded in March 2010. It's run and managed under the name Cold Brew Labs. Currently has a valuation of $5 billion based on venture capital money the site's taken on. There are an estimated 40 million US users of Pinterest and 70 million users worldwide. Competitors to Pinterest include Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and Instagram. So what do people use Pinterest for? Initially, it was billed as a site for ladies, sort of scrapbooking, full of shoes, wedding dresses, and jewelry, a buzz killer for guys. But what it really is a visual search and discovery tool, sort of a search engine for images. People use it for list-making, projects, and e-commerce future purchases. So what do we as businesses and marketers want to use Pinterest for? The things that we always want: market intelligence, inbound traffic to our websites, brand recognition, and exposure. Pinterest has over 30 billion pins or posts to 750 million boards. The number of posts to the website increases by 25% each quarter. It's available in 32 languages. 75 to 80% of Pinterest traffic comes via mobile devices. That tells you, as an affiliate or a marketer, if you plan on making Pinterest a part of your marketing strategy, you want to make sure your site is optimized for a mobile experience, meaning a fast-loading, responsive design that looks good on a variety of mobile devices, mobile-friendly navigation, and fast-loading images. Some terminology for the site. This is a picture of a Pinterest board. A basic action on Pinterest is called a pin. That's the equivalent of a Facebook post, a Twitter tweet, or a blog post on Tumblr. Pins belong to boards where users categorize them, usually by theme. A pin is the most basic action on Pinterest, or a repin is the most common action. 80% of all pins are not new content, they're really resharing. So a repin is the equivalent of resharing on Facebook, or retweeting on Twitter, reblogging on Tumblr. A user can have up to 250 boards on their account. Pinterest is the most gender imbalanced of all social media in the United States, 80% women to 20% men. Much closer to parity in countries such as Japan, Korea, with a 50-50 balance there. A typical Pinterest user, besides 80% female in the US, has some college education or better and skews towards the affluent. The average household income of a Pinterest user is about $50,000 per year or more, some college education, female. What else makes a Pinterest user different than the average social media user? With 80% women, they're doing 92% of the posting. 84% of the women remain as active users on the site, whereas 50% of the men drop off after 4 years. Pinterest is similar to Instagram. An interesting part about it is a Pinterest pin has a very long shelf life. It's not like Twitter, where you go viral in 5 minutes to an hour or die, or Facebook, where your post can be just completely buried in the news feed. I have a Pinterest pin that I wrote a year and a half ago. I wrote it about health and fitness just because it was a top 10 category. I wanted to see how long it would live, how much traffic it would bring. A year and a half later, it still lives and shows up in my top 10 stats. A Pinterest pin can go viral weeks, if not months later after it was posted. There are many news articles and interviews where a user says, hey, I posted something, I put it up, didn't come back for a long time. and I got 30,000 followers and lots of traffic to my site. Pinterest is the second largest referrer of social traffic. This is from a Shopify study. And by the way, I'll post all my citations and sources back on my Pinterest account and my website when this is done. So Pinterest refers 6% of social traffic, whereas Facebook refers 22%. In third place is Twitter with less than 1%, about 0.55, and then the rest of social media makes another 1%. The other refers are non-social. So you have Facebook beating Pinterest by 4 times. However, a Pinterest user is 10% more likely to make a purchase than when referred for a user by other social media. So Facebook beating them by 4 times, but they're 10% more likely to buy, and 70% more likely to buy if they came from another non-social source. And when they buy, they spend more. So here we got, again, compared to Facebook, 10% more likely to actually make the purchase and going to spend 50% more money when they do, and another 70% more money than a non-social user. So before you even begin to market to this demographic or try to appeal to them, you know quite a bit already. In the US, female user, most likely using a mobile device, skewing towards the affluent, college educated, more likely to buy, and going to spend more money than when they do. So what's being pinned? Food and drink is the top category on Pinterest, with 20% of all pins falling into that group. Do-it-yourself and crafts, another 12%, and then home decor, 11%. The other 57% is made up of other top 10 categories, such as inspirational quotes. That's something I make part of my Pinterest accounts and all accounts that I manage. They're easy to put up. You can find a ton of topics, business quotes, success quotes, love quotes, wisdom, scripture if you like it. Those are pins that are very easy to make. You can use Word, PowerPoint, Photoshop if you have it. Humor is the fastest growing category on Pinterest. It's something I stay away because mine are all business related. I don't want any dicey or questionable humor. Travel, technology, health and fitness. Health and fitness was number 10. Right before I got here, I saw a news article that said that women's fashion was actually in the number 3 spot. For this data, it was in number 4, so it's no surprise. The best time to pin. The best time to pin turns out to be 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. with 32% of all activity on the site occurring that time frame. And then there's another spike with 18% of pinning 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. So here we see our college-educated, mobile-using female pinning during the middle of the workday, right? And then again, after dinner time, kids are in bed. So if you have limited time and you want to get more exposure for your effort, try to hit up those time frames. Other big names on Pinterest. In 2012, their really first full year at it, after the invitation-only part ended, only 10 out of the Fortune 500 were on Pinterest. By 2013, that number had quadrupled to 45. Last year, it was up to 180, with 36% of the Fortune 500 feeling a need to have a presence on this site. Etsy is the #1 pinned domain on Pinterest, and I think that's attributed to the very similar interest between the 2 user bases. Etsy, if you're not familiar, is textiles, handmade crafts, home decor, a really good fit for the top 3 categories on Pinterest. We'll get back to my dog in a second. Lowe's has a #1 board on Pinterest or account with 3.4 million followers. Other big names you might know: BuzzFeed, REI, Nike, Home Depot, Martha Stewart, the Four Seasons hotel chain, which they were one of the first paid advertisers, something very new to Pinterest. So what do you pin? What do you do with your website? It's get visual. Add product images. If you have cover images for podcast, you can pin your YouTube videos. Pinterest doesn't host any video content. You have to put it up on Pinterest or YouTube, Vimeo, or you can pin TED Talks. The way I work around that is I take a thumbnail of my videos, put that on my website, pin it up from YouTube, and then go in and change the URL. I talked a little bit in the beginning about being repinnable. The pin is a basic action on Pinterest that's equivalent of a post. Repinning is the most common action on Pinterest. So we want to get the users resharing the things that we pin to get more traffic to our websites and help them do some of the work for us. This is my dog Comet. Comet is not very repinnable right now. There was a 2012 Curate study of Pinterest images, and they found that users favored certain visual qualities of an image. So Comet is not repinnable because he's on a square white background. He is cute, though. So we wanted to make him more repinnable so he's more likely to be reshared. He's linked back to my website and bring more traffic back to me. Curate found that there were some commonalities. Pinterest users favor images that have a red family background, meaning red, brown, yellow in the background. They liked things that were more likely to share images that had less than 30% white space. The second most favorite color was blue, and they were more likely to reshare if there were two dominant colors in the background. So here is Comet. He's on Virginia Beach now. He has two dominant colors in the background, blue and sand colored. His image is taller than it is wide. They also favored images. The aspect ratio matters. So when he gets pinned up, he'll get pinned up with his image, a nice long text description. The description that goes with the pin can be up to 500 characters long. The more closer you are to that 500 character limit, the more likely your stuff is to be reshared. Texture also matters, so Comet was shaved down a little. A smooth image was 17 times more likely to be repinned. So there he's all set now. So how do you make Pinterest work for you? Optimize your website for Pinterest. Remember, a mobile-friendly, responsive design, because the users, 75% to 80% of Pinterest traffic is mobile. Add the Pin It button to your website. If you're using content management, such as WordPress, Joomla, or Drupal, that's a fast plugin. It gives you all the other social sharing and help your readers and your followers do some of the sharing for your content. Make it easy for them. If you're not using WordPress, you can head over to Pinterest support, enter in your username, and they give you a widget to put on your website, and you can get your users sharing your content. How do you get your Pinterest account ready for more traffic? If you logged in initially, you get a personal account, which is free, and you can convert to a business account. That's also free. So log in, convert to business, and then you get two things: to verify your URL and Pinterest Analytics. Verifying your URL is simple. Again, if you're using content management, Pinterest gives you a little snippet of code. You enter it in a plugin, and then your URL becomes verified. You get the check mark similar to Pinterest and Twitter, and then you're more likely to show up in Pinterest searches. I have a few clients, if they're not verified, and some of them can't for certain reasons, they don't turn up in searches, and it makes them tough for them to get followers. It's a little difficult to get to those first 400, but once you get over that hump, you will get more followers faster. Pinterest Analytics, also something that you get for free from Pinterest once you convert to business. It gives you a good idea of what's your most popular pin, when, and it also segregates out rich pins, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Optimize your Pinterest account. Treat it like it's a search engine campaign, search engine optimization campaign. Name boards after keywords that you wish to be found for. If you are selling green fuzzy monkeys, have a green fuzzy monkey board or a large monkey board. Lots of boards. The bigger the account, the better it looks, the more active it looks. Create group boards and invite users to follow you that way. I would use the top 3 categories I mentioned: food and drink, home decor, crafts. If you have a challenge trying to find a way that those topics can be incorporated into your account, you're thinking they really have nothing to do with what I'm trying to sell. It's social networking, so be human, show people your human side. Create group boards that touch on those top 3 topics, and then you invite other users to pin to those boards. You follow them, they follow you, you get lots of followers that way. If you're going to be away, you don't have time for it, on vacation, your account will still look active because the group boards will be able to pin to those boards for you. And go out and find other group boards that align with your interests, or maybe in those top 10 categories as well. And that way you pin to those group boards and back from those group boards. Group boards are where you have multiple pinners pinning to a board. You're not giving admin access to the account, just to that one particular board. I read an article that said 48% of pins are not linked. I think that percentage is very high. And what that means is if I put up a pin and I don't link it to my website, if the user clicks on it, they don't come to my website, they just pop up a larger image. So it's useless to you as a marketer. Pinterest pin has an image, it has a text description, a place for the URL, and then a location. Be sure that that URL is pinned in. If you're using a pin it button from somebody's website, that's automatic. If you upload an image from your website, you're going to have to go back in and edit the pin. Be sure to add pin it button, use Pinterest Analytics, convert to a business account, and then rich pins. Rich pins contain additional data. It's similar to using Facebook Open Graph data, Google+. It has additional data like a price, an inventory level. They have movie pins, recipe pins where you can actually see the ingredients. They take up larger real estate on the Pinterest board, the part we saw in the beginning. It's a better way to get more shares, comments, and likes. It'll help you get more followers that way. I have 2 minutes left. I could take a few questions, or I have something I could go on about if it's all crickets. Anybody? Onward. Nope? All righty. So we talked a little bit about analytics, and I talked a bit about the length of the description. There's a way to use, I think Pinterest, as far as all social media that I use, is the most difficult to use for local search. Say you're trying to market travel, or you're doing a brick and mortar. You can use the location and place boards to help out with your local searching. Place boards are a separate kind of board on Pinterest. It's an option when you create a board, or you can always go back in and change it. It gives you the opportunity to add a location to it. Say you are marketing travel and you want to talk about Philadelphia. You can put up boards about hotel chains. So say you're trying to sell hotel, add hotel chain data, nightlife in that area, restaurants, things to do, things to see. Be sure that each of those pins has a location added. Convert that whole board to a place board or a map board. And it gives you a different layout where the pins are showing down the left-hand side rather than across the whole board like our first board was. And it adds a push pin for where that's located. So when someone comes to Pinterest and so they search for Philly or they search for restaurants in Philly, more likely to find you. Use lots of keyword-rich descriptions and use hashtags. Hashtags don't work quite the same way they do in Twitter and Facebook, but they do give you some clickable searching. It's different. A hashtag in Pinterest works differently than just searching in Pinterest. But it'll help you get found if you're trying to geolocate a campaign. That is the end of my 18 minutes. I have some time to answer questions, and I want to clear out for the next speaker. Thank you very much for listening. There's more speakers behind me, and they have some good topics coming up. Have a great day.